All right, traders, this is going to be the most important and historic week for AMC stock, guys. It is either going to make it or break it. In terms of making it big, I can easily see this going over $100 plus this week if this pattern that I show you confirms and repeat itself. Now, if it doesn't, this can drop to as low as $16.50 in my opinion. So within this video, I'm going to be giving you a short-term price action analysis on where AMC stock is heading. As you know, the market was closed on Monday due to Memorial Day, and I believe the volume is going to be back and it's going to be extremely volatile, and it is going to be a game-changing week, guys. This is the time to be trading and watching AMC stock. So like I said, let's get right into this pattern that I don't see anybody talking about. This pattern correlates with a stock that follows AMC, which is GameStop, GME. And I'm going to be comparing to you what GME looked like and what it did back in mid-January of 2021. And I'm going to be showing you how AMC is currently doing the same thing. So before we get into this, I just want you to briefly compare AMC's daily chart. So this is AMC stock, from May 11th up until May 28th, to GME's daily chart, January 11th, 2021, up until January 25th, right? If you look at this, the candlesticks, each one of these candlesticks, the daily chart, represents 1 day's worth of price action. The candlesticks are literally identical. The look of them are identical. The price movement percentage-wise are very, very close and similar. Even like the volume-wise. Like the volume-wise is very, very similar. If you look at the volume bars, you could just see. Everything looks identical. For example, we have 2 days of consolidation right here. We have 2 days of consolidation right here. We have a massive push up. Look at where this candlestick closes. See how it loses some of its gains? Same thing right here. Loses some of its gains, right? And then if you look, you have this consolidation towards highs, small sell-off, consolidation towards highs, small sell-off. And then if you look, it has this massive push up. And then what I want to do is, you see these three green soldiers, this pattern, these 3 big green bars right here, 3 big green bars as well. And then I want you to compare what can potentially happen here. Let's go over this. So right here, look at this candle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3, right? So we have the first candle right here, second candle right here, third candle right here. This is GME. Now on AMC, we have 1, 2, 3. So notice right here on this massive push up, it starts to close weak, right? It closes towards the lows. Right here, massive push up, closes weak towards lows. So if you just compare them, the pattern is literally identical. So what I'm trying to tell you is, what you want to look for tomorrow is, if AMC stock has a gap up in the pre-market, it is going to be a strong buy, guys. That is what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be watching the price action within the pre-market tomorrow. Why? Because this is the pattern. If we get that gap up tomorrow, it is going to close towards the previous highs, towards the low 30s. That's where it's going to close around, most likely. And then the next day, parabolic. That is the pattern I wanted to share with you guys. I don't see anybody comparing that, but if you just look at this pattern, guys, it is literally identical. Let's just zoom in. Let me get rid of this oval right here. Let's just zoom in on this. So that is what can potentially happen to AMC stock if that pattern repeats itself. So in order for the pattern to repeat itself, what are we going to need? We're going to need a nice gap up for tomorrow. If we see a gap up in the pre-market, nice little spikes, consolidation towards highs, then I'm going to be buying that breakout. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of pre-market. As of after hours, it's currently down 1.63% in the mid 25s, but that doesn't mean much. It's a very volatile stock. So if I see this gap up in the pre-market tomorrow, this is what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to close strong towards the highs, and then the day after that, massive gap up, and then that's where I'm going to be looking to lock in profits. So that's that bullish pattern I wanted to share with you. As you can see, it's literally identical. Like if we go back, this pattern is literally identical. And then if you go to the next day of GME, next day right here, if we see a gap up for AMC in pre-market, it's going to look like that. Most likely close towards previous highs towards 30s. And then the day after that, we could see a massive gap up. And then that's where I'm going to be beginning to take profits. So in terms of trading this, you can trade options if you like, if you want to take a bigger risk, or you can just buy shares. But either way, guys, that is the opportunity. That's the pattern I'm going to be looking for. If AMC gaps up in the pre-market, I'm going to be buying this heavily. Now, in terms of the downside, if we see a gap down and it's opening up red and it's looking weak, I do believe this can go to as low as, let's go right here. We currently have a gap to fill. Let me disable all this. Let's just get rid of this. Type in AMC right here. So if we see gap down the pre-market and then that previous closing price of 26.12 turns into resistance, it's looking bearish, it's not going, red to green, then it's most likely going to get crushed, and I could see it going to as low as, let's disable all this so I could show you, right around here, which would be 1650. There's a gap to fill towards 1650, and once it really starts to crack 2450, that's when it's going to really start to fill that gap below, guys. You do have to remember, what goes up must come down. As you can see right here, it literally went from $5 to $20, and then a couple days later, it went from $5. But like I said, that pattern that I just kind of mentioned, it's only going to be relevant in terms of the bearish side if this 26.12, this previous closing price, turns into resistance, it opens up red and it starts selling off and it cracks 24.30. That's when I do believe AMC is going to be heading towards 16.50. Then in terms of buying, I would look to buy towards 16.50. But like I said, if we open up strong tomorrow, it's gapping up in the pre-market, things are looking good, it's a green day, then I do believe this is going to go low 30s into as high as $100, if that pattern of GME compared to AMC repeats itself. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, guys. Let me know what you think. And I do hope it happens in terms of the long side. So it's very, very simple, guys. That's what I'm looking for. It is as simple as that. Simple technical pattern. I'm going to repeat it one more time. AMC stock tomorrow. Gaps up in the pre-market. It is going to be a buy. Most likely close towards the previous highs around low 30s. Next day, massive gap up. Now, if this gap's down, if it fails to go from, red to, if it's red and it fails to go from red to green, if it's turning the previous closing price to resistance, if it cracks 24.17, then I do believe this week it's going to go to as low as 16.50, and then that's where you'd want to buy the dip around 16.50. So it's as simple as that, guys. It's all determined by pre-market in the opening price. That's how I'm determining this trade analysis off of first 30 minutes within the market open. I will know whether or not to buy or to short and get puts. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. That's my plan. I showed you when to be long biased and I showed you when to be short biased. Like I said, long biased, gap up in the pre-market, look to buy into that. Short biased, if it's down, I'd wait for the market to open. And then if it turns previous support 24.30, and if it turns previous closing price 26.10 into resistance, then I could see it going to as low as 16.50 this week. And then if 16.50, if it bounces, turns out in support, then it's going to be a strong buy. So yeah, guys, that's my analysis on AMC stock. I'm looking forward to trading this one tomorrow. It's going to be a very lucrative opportunity this week.